The panda, often called the giant panda, is one of the most famous and beloved animals in the entire world. And when we think about it, the first picture that comes to mind is a round, fluffy creature with black and white fur, a gentle face, and big dark eyes that make it look soft, innocent, and almost like a living teddy bear. And behind this charming look there is a fascinating story of survival, psychology, strengths, and weaknesses that makes the panda a truly special animal worth studying and protecting. Pandas are native to China, living mostly in the mountain forests full of bamboo, and their whole life is deeply connected to this one plant. And while most bears eat meat or mixed diets, the panda is almost completely vegetarian, eating bamboo for 99% of its diet. And this is both its greatest strength and its biggest weakness. The strength is that no other large animal can survive mainly on bamboo, because bamboo is hard, tough. Because low in nutrition, yet the panda has developed strong jaws, powerful teeth, because a digestive system that can at least process it enough to survive. So nature has given pandas a special ability to live where other animals cannot. Because the weakness is that bamboo does not give much energy, so pandas must eat for 10 to 16 hours a day, chewing constantly just to stay alive. Because even after eating so much, they are often tired, slow. Because not very active, which is why many people see them as lazy, because in reality, they are simply saving energy because their food is not very rich. If we look at the good side of pandas, they are peaceful and calm animals, usually avoiding fights, not hunting other creatures, and living a life that is simple and quiet, which makes them a symbol of peace and balance in nature. And when humans see pandas rolling around playfully, climbing trees, and sitting with their legs stretched out while eating bamboo like a happy child, it creates joy and brings smiles, which is why pandas have become a symbol of love, friendship, and even diplomacy. And China has used panda diplomacy for decades, sending pandas to other countries as a gesture of goodwill. And this shows how an animal can even affect human politics and relationships. But on the bad side, pandas have many struggles. One of the most serious is their reproduction, because female pandas are only fertile for 2 or 3 days in an entire year, which is a very short time, because even if they do become pregnant, usually they give birth to only 1 or 2 cubs. Because if there are 2, the mother often cannot care for both, so only one survives. Because this slow and difficult reproduction makes it very hard for pandas to increase their population naturally. For many years, this was a big reason why pandas became endangered, and without human help through breeding programs, reserves, and careful protection, they might have disappeared completely, which shows us that while the panda is strong in some areas, it is also very fragile when it comes to survival. If we think about panda psychology and behavior, it is interesting to notice that pandas are mostly introverted animals. They prefer to live alone, marking their territory with scent to keep others away, and they usually do not gather in groups like lions or elephants. And despite their lonely nature, they are not completely unfriendly, and when the mating season comes or when a mother cares for her cub, they show very strong emotional bonds and protective behavior. A panda mother is extremely gentle yet very alert when raising her baby, carrying it carefully, hugging it tightly, and keeping it warm in her fur, which shows a loving and soft side of their psychology. And this is one reason why humans feel such a deep emotional connection with pandas, and their care for their cubs looks almost human-like. Another part of panda behavior is climbing, because even though they look heavy and slow, pandas are surprisingly good climbers. They can escape danger or rest on high branches, because young pandas especially love to climb and play, rolling down slopes and wrestling with each other, showing that they have a playful and curious nature beneath their calm appearance. However, when it comes to defending themselves, pandas are not the most powerful fighters. Yes, they belong to the bear family and they have strong jaws, sharp claws when a very strong bite. When they do not usually use these weapons aggressively, instead they avoid conflict. When if a large predator like a leopard comes too close, a panda may climb a tree or retreat rather than fight directly, which again shows their peaceful yet vulnerable side. Still, one must not underestimate them. Because if a panda is provoked or threatened, especially a mother protecting her cub, it can become very aggressive and dangerous, capable of inflicting serious injuries, so their calmness should not be mistaken for weakness in all cases. Looking at strengths again, one very big strength of the panda is not physical but symbolic. It has become a global icon of wildlife conservation, the face of the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, and a constant reminder to people that beautiful creatures can be lost if we do not take care of the environment. And because of this, the panda has inspired millions of people around the world to care about animals, forests, and biodiversity, which is a kind of strength no other animal has in the same way. On the other side, their weakness in depending on bamboo is also risky. Because if bamboo forests are destroyed by humans cutting trees or climate change, the panda has very little chance to survive, because it cannot easily switch to a different diet, so its whole existence is tied to the health of its habitat, which makes it more fragile than many other animals. In terms of psychology, pandas are also known for being both shy and curious. They avoid large groups but are curious about new smells, objects, or movements in their environment or in captivity. Pandas often show playful behaviors like using toys, splashing in water, or trying to solve puzzles given by keepers, which shows that their intelligence is not very high compared to some animals like dolphins, elephants, or primates, or they are not simple-minded either. They have problem-solving abilities and can adapt to certain situations, or their main lifestyle is built around conserving energy. Another cultural side is that in Chinese culture, pandas are seen as symbols of harmony and balance because of their black and white colors, which represent yin and yang, the balance of opposites, and this adds to their importance beyond biology, making them a spiritual and cultural treasure as well as a natural one. If we summarize, the panda is like a mixture of contradictions. Strong jaws but weak diet, big body but slow movements, calm personality but hidden power, peaceful lifestyle but high vulnerability. And these contradictions are what make it so fascinating to humans. People see pandas as mirrors of themselves. Gentle yet struggling, playful yet endangered, soft yet strong in their own way. And maybe that is why the world loves them so much. Because in pandas we see a reflection of the balance between strength and weakness that exists in all life. In the end, the panda teaches us that survival is not only about being the fastest or strongest predator. Sometimes it is about adapting, finding peace in a simple life, and depending on harmony with the environment. And it also reminds us that every creature has limits and needs protection. And without care, even the most loved animals can vanish. And that is why the panda remains not just an animal of China, but a symbol of hope, patience, and the delicate balance of nature for all of humanity.